The time being 7 p.m. on March 14th, 2022. All members of the planning board being present, call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda item A, approval of minutes for February 14th and February 28th.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve the minutes and a second to approve the minutes for both days. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Before I get through agenda item B, just to let everybody in the audience know, agenda item E, 30 International Place, has requested to be continued to our March 28th meeting, so nothing will be heard on that this evening. And agenda item I, 85 French Street, has asked to be continued to our March 28th meeting, so there'll be nothing heard on that. So if you're here for those, you're free to go. You won't miss anything.
Can we go?
Otherwise, no, you have to stay. Agenda item B1, committee reports. Any committee reports any of the members wish to make at this time?
Thank you, Alex, for sending out the invite for the tour. Hopefully everyone can make it.
All right. That'll be a tour for the planning board for the new elementary school.
Yes.
The other boards.
Yeah, all other select board.
Yeah, I just meant
Yes.
for us, but yeah.
Correct.
And agenda item B2, town planners report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing of substance really to update on today, just a kind of a continuation of the discussion we had at the previous meeting where Mr. Fowler and Mr. Ryder weren't present for discussing utilizing some of the sidewalk fund donation money to move forward with design and permitting phase for the two segments of sidewalk I'm missing identified on Main Street in front of 1788 and 1866, which would include the signal update at Livingston Street in Maine.
Okay. Mr. Delaney, did you have something?
Yeah. The thing is, have we called the state delegation, Mass DOT, to see if we can get them to do the design and the funding?
So
From what I understand, there's plenty of money there.
Sure. No, I understand that. So typically the state doesn't do the design work, but they would be looking more for a shovel-ready project, but I'm more than happy to double check with them. But typically we would want to do the design and permitting on our end and have it ready basically to go, and we can apply for funds.
You know, if we can,
construction.
you know, if we could save ourselves $200,000, it'd be well worth the look into.
No, absolutely. And this segment for the design would only be $45,000 anyway.
Okay.
But I can absolutely check in
But
if.
from what I understand, they'll build it too.
No, I understand that, yes. So I'll double check and see if they'll do the design and permitting, and if they don't, then maybe we move forward at the next meeting with allocating the sidewalk funds if they're willing to do the construction portion.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, with that being said, Mr. Delaney, do you want us to reach out to the state delegation and see if they can
That's what,
push that thing?
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what she's gonna do.
But,
but you know, I got some information tonight on it that said there was plenty of money there, and they should give it to us.
more than willing to have the state pay for it rather than us if we
Right.
can, you know? But
Yeah.
use it somewhere else in town. But,
Then we can use the money for some other sidewalk that's got to be done.
Mr. Fowler? Mr. Ryder?
All set, thank you.
All right. Yeah, we'll continue on the dual path of
Sure,
getting
and
this to the.
if I may, with the follow-up question for the board, if it does turn out that the state is willing to fund the design and permitting for the Main Street portion, is there another section of town that you would like to look at for possibly utilizing funds for the design and permitting? If you don't have to answer me right now, if you think of something, just shoot me an email.
Okay.
So we can have a backup if they do say that they will fund the design.
wouldn't be bad, Alex, if we had a plan or a list of sidewalk areas that we could put in our own.
We do.
Yeah.
They've read it to us multiple times.
Yeah, the town engineer has of his 5-year plan with different segments through town.
But I mean, if we had other sites, could we pursue them too?
Sure.
Okay.
Moving on to agenda item B3, 821 Main Street, preliminary subdivision plan.
What's this? Which one? This is B3?
Yes.
I think we got it. I wish they put it in big type.
For the record, Jim Hanley, Civil Design Consultants. Also, before I get started here, I just want to clarify to you and to anybody that might be watching that the intent here is to file this preliminary subdivision application in an attempt to freeze the current allowed uses in case the zoning changes when the town votes in the, I guess, in May. So that's the intent here. We don't intend on actually doing this subdivision, but I'll kind of give you the walkthrough as it stands. So 821 Main Street, there's actually two buildings located at 821. There's a single-family residence, and then there's French's Seafood as well. They're both on the same lot. It's tax map 48, lot 10. The lot is 30,000 square feet in area. It has 200 feet of frontage on Main Street, 145 on Nelson Avenue, 155 on Newtown Avenue. So it's kind of this unique thing where it has frontage on essentially three sides of it. It's in the commercial overlay district. It's in the commercial district and then the VROD overlay district. So we've been looking at some alternatives for this site. We've actually met with the town in very conceptual ideas, just kind of threw a couple of concepts in front of them, and we know the clock is ticking, so that's why we wanted to put this together. So essentially we have a right-of-way along the back of the lot that would allow for two 10,000 square foot lots. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
We'll start with Mr. Fratelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hanley, you know, I don't have too much of a problem with what you're trying to do here, you know. I know the purpose, so. But what I'm going to ask is, what's happening at the site now?
Right now?
Yes.
So there's so my understanding is the existing single family is rented, and the restaurant itself is not being used. Other than that, I couldn't tell you exactly what's going on.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I can answer that question if that's okay, Mr. Chairman. The state is actually using that as a staging area while they get ready to ramp up construction on 38.
Right.
And the building commissioner is aware of it, assistant town manager is aware of it and is okay with it.
I just didn't want some company coming in all of a sudden setting up a construction yard on
No.
38 without anybody's knowledge. But
Nope, all temporary
that's my
staging.
question, so I'm good with that.
What, if anything, can we do to try to keep it from getting as bad as the one down at the other end of Main Street in South Tewksbury? Because I think that was used as a staging area, and you know now it looks like it could be used for mountain climbing.
I can put it on the building commissioner's radar to make sure that it stays under control here. He's aware of it already.
I mean, it's just, you know, the other one at least went a little deeper back.
Yeah.
And that's bad enough, but I mean, that's right out in the front, and
Yeah.
you know, we don't need the eyesore in the middle. You know, it's all well and good that they can use it as a staging area, but, you know. Sorry, Mr. Delaney?
Are you talking about the Main Street, the lots that we approved?
No. Well, he's talking about French's, but I was referring to the one down near, like, past, like, I don't know, the old auto parts lot
Oh,
that
okay.
just has, like, the mound of dirt on it and all
Yeah,
that.
looks like a gravel pit.
Right, I don't want it to turn into another one of those, that was all.
The only question I have with this is the proposed roadway that's going through, is that going to affect the neighbors that are on the other side of that?
Yeah, so, again, we're not gonna continue along with this. It's only a tool used to freeze the zoning in case it actually gets approved in May. So we have no intention of actually doing this, and if we did, we'd come back to you. So if it were put in, it would, but there's no proposal to actually do that.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah.
Mr. Ryder?
I'm all set. I understand what you're doing. I did have a question from a neighbor on Newton Ave, and understanding as a state, what are the hours of operation, and is it going to be weekends, and they were just concerned about noise, starting time, weekends, and any dust. So we can just
Sure,
watch
that's going to be a part of the whole repaving of 38 there, and there's actually going to be a meeting with abutters coming up in the next few weeks that the town engineer has organized with DOT, so those details should be forthcoming.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, I don't have anything extra. Obviously, this is a holder, so but we're unlikely to even see this, you know, for any time soon. So, if there was anything else?
Did you ask Paul?
You know,
Sorry, did I? I thought I started to. I'm sorry, Mr. Fowler.
He's easily forgotten.
Find it rather strange and upsetting with all the problems we have on Route 38. I mean, hundreds of phone calls, letters, personal points of interest about the, you know, how horrible it is. We try to do it. Someone complained about the drain, the catch basin being wrapped. What was that for? We all know what it's for. It's for so silt doesn't go inside the manhole. But now that, you know, hours of operation, we want to get Route 38 done. Whatever it takes. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. And you have anything else to add, correct? All right, then we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item B4, 70 Fraser Lane. That's an approval not required plan.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Jim Hanley, Civil Design Consultants.
Dick Succo, Woodland Design.
So we have an application for an approval not required here. It's for a lot on Fraser Lane. It's approximately 146,863 square feet, so it exceeds zoning significantly. There's about 262 feet of frontage on Fraser Lane, and the zoning is R40. If you look at the two sheets behind this sheet, you'll see that this is actually part of the 2001 original subdivision for Fraser Lane. And the proposal in front of you tonight is to cut these two lots in half, leaving one of which unbuildable and leaving one of which compliant with zoning and buildable.
So just to give you a little history on what took place on this over 20-something years now, it's been going on. So I went through the records and read the minutes, and I wasn't part of the permitting, but I was in the audience for most of it while it was being done. So I found Attorney O'Neill live and well down in Jupiter, Florida, or Vero Beach rather, having a grand old time. So he walked me through some of the logistics of how this came to be. On the original subdivision plan, lot 20 was shown. It had a driveway, a house. There's a sewer easement that traverses through it to connect the sewer that was going to be connected from Green Meadow Road down to Fraser Lane. After much discussion on it, they had, as you can see, there's a vernal pool on the abutting lot. Well, back in the day, that vernal pool was associated with a potential wildlife habitat with natural heritage. I wasn't going to say national, natural heritage in endangered species. So they acquiesced and said, yeah, all right, we'll change it and take that lot out and make it not a building lot. But for about 10 years, they still taxed it as a building lot. The second thought that Attorney O'Neill passed on to me was there was some concern by one of the commissioners at the time that the several replication areas that were going to be proposed on the site would not actually revegetate properly. Well, 20 years later, they're the most robust vegetated wetlands you could ever find in the town of Tewksbury. So that is kind of gone. The big thing is in 2018, we did a permit for lot 18 and 19 that they wanted to add on a garage and a pool. And we went back to Natural Heritage, and they have since updated the biomap for this area. And we have a letter in the file that says that it's no longer considered, it's still a vernal pool, but it's no longer considered that entire area as a viable habitat. And the other reason that the town at the time had an appetite for open space, well, the town no longer has an appetite for open space. As you know, all of the OSRD subdivisions that we bring in, the town doesn't want it. They want it to be in some type of a form of an association. And at 2 o'clock this afternoon, I got notice that the town rejected an offer from 2 owners of 13 acres of land that immediately abuts Rogers Park for open space, that they didn't want that. So we don't think that the mindset that was in place when the subdivision was first approved is still consistent today. So we came up with the offer that, all right, well, let's cut this into lots 20A and 20B, and we can still have some open space if that is what is the driving force here. But I don't believe that that is the case anymore in 2022. So we can go either way. We can either have an A&R plan with an endorsement that removes the note from the original recorded plan that says not a building lot. We still have to file with conservation and go through all of that. Or we can subdivide it into 20A and 20B, and the developer will either keep ownership of 20B or he'll probably convey it with 20A. So, but I thought it was important to give you the history of with natural heritage, with the wildlife habitat, and we actually have a notice of intent plan that we will be filing where we do still keep the integrity of the buffer zone for the vernal pool. So that that won't be changed. We're not doing away with the vernal pool, just the potential habitat. Thank you.
Mr. Fowler?
I appreciate the explanation from 2 engineers, especially the lengthy one from Mr. Kuko.
That was only, I abbreviated what O'Neill gave me, so.
I can understand that. Thinking back to the history of this, you know, it's gone both ways as far as wetlands, and I appreciate the work that's been done in this, but to use all of that land for one house, correct?
Yeah.
You can't see any problem with it because it fits the code, and it'll be a nice private lot. That's for sure. All right, I'm all set.
Mr. Delaney?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it either. I mean, there's a lot of land to build, only have to build one house on it. I think it's fine.
Mr. Fattalia?
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman. And just thank Mr. Kuko for his explanation. It verified the fact that unfortunately the town doesn't want to take some land, and that's not happy about that. But I mean, you always hear people complaining about open space, open space, open space, and now the town doesn't want to take it. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather see it be open space for everybody to use rather than it be, you know, incumbent into this project, this parcel, and him paying all the whole piece of land. So, but other than that, I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Ryder?
All set, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Kuko, for the explanation.
Chair's all set as well.
I think just one thing.
Mr. Fowler?
The reason that I'm surprised about what the town's opinion of this is, in general, sure, that parcel will have a large piece of land, but it's not protected. if you put it in the open space under the town, it's protected from whatever you don't want them to do on it. Cut the trees down, move it around. It just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. It's not our decision, but if we put our thought process together here, maybe we should send them a letter on our thoughts on this, instead of just saying, gee, how come? So, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, with that comment from Mr. Fowler, I'm sure that we don't have a problem with, when the time comes to go through there, we'll put an easement, conservation easement on like 20B so that it's no, the person that owns 28 will not be able to infringe on it at any point in time.
All right, good.
Like belt and suspenders.
Thank you.
All right, so do we have a motion on the A&R?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to endorse. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item C, 1788 Main Street. This is continued from our February 28th meeting, signed special permit. Just state your name for the record. The floor will be yours.
John Peterson, here on behalf of Metro Sign and Awning, also on behalf of Alan Spark, 1788 Main Street. We're applying for a special sign permit for a sign at 1788 Main Street, the Balance Bar. We're going to retrofit the current cabinet that is there with the new sign that will be illuminated. And they're also looking to add an electronic message center base underneath that other sign that's there. The poles that are there will remain intact. They'll just be painted white. And the property owner there is going to be responsible for that planter that is on the pictures there.
Please get you to speak up a little bit so that the
sorry.
mic's picking you up. Thank you. Good. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We'll start with Mr. Ryder.
Thank you. There's a question about the actual setback. Is the existing 23 feet?
We have 15 feet, I think we found on the plot plan.
Okay.
It's a tough lot right there where it falls, just so
Okay.
close to the street, the building itself.
Understand.
The sign is actually, in the parking lot there, in the,
Okay.
it's actually not even in the grass, it's right in the parking lot.
Okay, it is in the parking lot. Okay. That's all I have for right now, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Fattaia?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we need a couple of waivers here because of the signage, right? Size of it, it's only, according to the records here, 7 inches higher and 9 inches wider. That's really irrelevant to me as far as adding that much more space. It's not a big deal. Just one question I had. Any idea what's going to be used on, or what's going to be displayed in the message board?
I believe like when they have specials and things like that, if they're having deals there and just letting people know about that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem. I like the way the sign looks, and it's better than what's there now, so, but I'm fine, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Delaney?
Yeah, I feel as though it's the same. My questions have been answered. As long as it's staying where it is.
Yeah, they will
When
have.
you put the display up, is the top of the sign where it has the address and everything, that stays like that all the time? Or does that change as well?
No, that stays like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just the bottom part of it.
Correct.
Okay, I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Fowler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to see you, Mr. Peters.
Sir, you as well.
That's very good.
been a while.
I want you to say hello to Mary Ann and Dennis for me.
I will.
Something unrelated, just someone from the past. This, to me, is fine. This is, it's maintaining its standard, it's maintaining its position, just upgrading it, such as a lot of others are doing. So I'm in favor of this. make it.
All right. So the only thing for me, and only because there's one off the top of my head that I'm thinking of, and that is that in the past, I don't think we've said anything about maintaining the, I'm not sure, the quality of the resolution on the electronic side. So that's important to me, because there's at least one that I'm thinking of that doesn't look very good. And it wasn't something, and it occurred to me that we would have needed to worry about, being that these were fairly new, and I just sort of thought, at least, or didn't think, about that being something we may need to now start including.
Don't we always ask them if there's the ability to maintain that?
Yes, that's talking about the brightness or anything.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the quality, because I'm just gonna flat out say it. It's the MVP one.
Oh,
And from what it was originally and what it kind of looks like now, it's not clear anymore. It's not like the other signs pretty much everywhere else.
for resolution?
Yeah, I don't know, because remember, I think vaguely remember that they had one, then they needed to replace it. I believe they had to come in when they did, and what they replaced it with is just not, I don't think, as good as what was there, and it wasn't something that I think we would have thought of
Okay.
with these, and I just want to make sure that, you know, it maintains a high-quality resolution so that it has that nice, new, up-to-date look, which is why we kind of are okay with these, as opposed to, you know, I mean, granted that it's going to replace an old and not very nice sign, but if it doesn't look good, did we really get the bang for the?
Our company did a Tamian down by the highway and Wamisit Plains, so those electronic message boards out
Okay,
there.
so, but like I'm saying, I want to now see us
Yeah.
adding that in as a condition, that the, you know, the resolution and quality would be maintained as it is at the beginning, through perpetuity.
Okay.
You know, and that would now be a condition within the permit, so that we can follow up on it when if we see things that aren't good.
Wouldn't we have the ability to go back anyways as a special permit? For,
Yes, but
there is
I'm
an
not
issue.
sure that they're,
Under
I'm
the
not sure
quality.
it would be a stretch to say the quality of it, as opposed to when we discussed it, we talked about brightness and what you're putting on it and that kind of thing, and we always keep that in there, which is fine. I just feel like this is one more step now into the future of, you know, now that we've got more of them, and, you know, it seems to be sort of the wave we're going with. We want to make sure that these things are going to stay looking good, so we don't end up with the electronic version of these old signs that we just want to get rid of.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Well, the expert's sitting in front of us, let's ask
Oh, I
him.
don't know about that.
Well, no, you know more about it than I do.
all right, so,
May I?
yes,
Is that something that you're aware of, that sometimes they can replace it with a sign that is not so nice as far as looking, the resolution?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with the bulbs inside, that they could just replace there on
Okay.
that electronic message board.
All right.
I mean, I vaguely remember it as being the whole thing needed to be replaced, and I just think that the version that went in wasn't like what we see pretty much everywhere else, that was all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sure, it's a cost factor too, Mr. Chairman.
And that's why I'd want to put it in here, is because if we're gonna give it to you, we expect high quality.
And they'll obey they'll only do it through hours of operation.
Yep, that was one we were gonna get, so there's no issue with what's in here,
No,
the limits
yeah,
on the
I
12
think
to
they're 9
6.
to 9 over there.
Okay, well, I mean, really, the limit will just stick with what we have in here, which is the 12 to 6.
12 to
That's when
6.
it's not
Okay.
supposed to be on.
All right.
All right, so with that, I'll open up to the audience. Any questions, comments, or concerns in the audience? Going once, twice, all right. Bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board? All right, motion to close. We have a second. All
Second.
in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right,
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, so as to the signed special permit itself, do we have a motion on that?
we have waivers, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, we have the waivers. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, correct?
Yes.
Actually, do we, 1, 2, 3, is it actually 5, because we have to deal with number 1? For the setback? No, we don't have, to. okay.
No, I think that's just a clarification.
That was just a correction, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Then the sections that the waivers are for are section 5232D1, section 5232D2, section 5232D4, and section 5232D7. Okay, so we have a motion on the waivers as requested.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. As to the signed special permit itself, we have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the signed special permit at 1788 Main Street with the waivers discussed.
Okay, with the conditions.
Conditions, yeah.
Our typical ones that we usually put in, as well as what I added tonight for the maintaining of the quality and resolution in perpetuity, and just noting the 12 to 6 was what we discussed. All right, so we got a motion for that. Do we have a second? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. All set, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Moving on to agenda item D, 160 and 170 River Road, Trowbrook Golf Course, site plan special permit and land disturbance permit. We have a motion to waive the public reading.
So moved.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Gentlemen, once you get settled, if you just give your names for the record, floor will be yours. Gentlemen and lady, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's fine.
Mr. Chairman. For the record, David Plunkett, representing the applicant Trowbrook Golf Course, Inc. And with us tonight at the table is Roy Trull from the entity that is the official applicant. Also here are Jim Hanley and Mira Cousins from Civil Design Consultants. The
You've
project-
exceeded our table limit.
I know.
It's so small, I know, I'm just kidding.
It's like an island in the Pacific.
Mr. Chairman, there's an overview of the project that's presented to you tonight, and before we get into the details with Jim and Mira, I think everyone here is well aware of Trowbrook Golf Course. I mean, it's one of the great business operations in town. It's been in operation since 1963. Before that, farm in the area. And it's been, Mr. Roy Trull is, a member of the Trull family going back to the original days of operation, starting the golf course, and even before then, when it was farmland. As part of the submittal, we presented an overview of the history of the business operation, going back to the initial grant in 1962, and the different variations over the years in 1972 and 2011. So it's a situation where we have this business operation that, as with any business, has to respond to changes, has to always try to improve and be competitive. And what we have here is a proposal that's going to allow the course to be better, present its services in a more orderly fashion, and actually it will be better for the neighborhood. If you look at the project as presented, the parking lot that's currently in existence right along Trull Road, not Trull Road, but River Road, is going to remain there. But it's not going to be for the purposes of the, the clientele that's there coming in because they've got tea time. That's now going to be strictly for the tournament play. And as it is right now, and it doesn't happen on all that often. It's not a significant portion of the business flow, but it is a component of any golf course. And what Roy is looking at is to create a situation that will allow them to deal with that and remove any conflict between the tournament operation and the day-to-day operation. So the new parking area at the back is going to be the primary parking area. And that's where your daily golfers are going to be coming in. That's where the tee time people, the foursomes are going to come in. And you're going to be off of Trull Road. So, I mean, I keep wanting to give you River Road. You've got Troll Road, and I'm trying to give you River Road.
That's a different hearing and a different board if you try to take the road.
So, I'm sorry, River Road. So it's a situation that that's going to be a great benefit in terms of having the day-to-day, traffic or clientele going into the new parking area off of River Road. And what it allows is now to contain the tournament play, that they will be the only ones that use that front area. And it also allows for the separation of service and those that are in the tournament. We are now, as a tournament play, having a discussion with Roy earlier, everyone gets there about the same time. Usually the starting time is around 8 o'clock, so people get there at 7:30 or so. And then it's the shotgun approach that everyone's out on the course all at the same time, and they rotate, and then afterwards they go and they have their awards and ceremonies, and typically they're looking for, service of food, and then they leave. So what this would do is allow them to isolate them, so that when that's going on, they're utilizing that front parking lot area. They're going to use the existing clubhouse now for the purpose of staging the tournaments, and then having that after tournament processing. And then the back, what's now currently housing the tennis site, is going to be more for the location of the foursomes coming in because they've got tee time that they've arranged. The other aspect is that, reacting to changing trends. That right now, the structure that's there is housing tennis. The trend now is that the golf simulators, that's what people are looking for. They're looking for golf simulators. And again, the town is, we're looking for businesses to thrive and survive. That's what we're looking to do, to utilize that back area for a use that's more aligned to what Mr. Trull, in his capacity as the principal of the company that's operating this business, very successful business for all these years, is responding to that. So it will be a situation, and as we indicated in our letter, the site is recreational area, and it talks about golf, tennis, swimming, boating. So clearly, the golf is a primary aspect of it, and that would be what would be intended, what would be expected as part of the preservation of this beautiful, and it is. It's a beautiful. Anyone that's golfed there knows, what a beautiful site this area is. And the Trull family has been a great steward of this operation for all these years. Roy's still a principal, a member of the Trull family, still operating this business. And again, it's one of the key businesses that you point to in our town. And what do you have in town? And one of the things that you point to, Trullbrook Golf Course, you should see it. It's beautiful.
Picturesque.
Yeah, it is. It is a beautiful course. So, but that's the intent. It's an intent to actually improve the site. It's going to be better for the neighborhood in terms of allowing for this separation of the two operations. And again, the tournament play is not a major part, but it is part of the operation. Allow this so that you don't have that conflict between now the people coming in for the regular play after the tournament is over. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Mira and Jim, and they can go through the details of the plans as presented to the board tonight.
Thank you, David. Good evening. I'm Mira Cousins with Civil Design Consultants. So I'll talk about the existing condition and then walk through what we're proposing for the site improvements. So the site is located in the R40 zoning district. The combined area of both 160 and 170 River Road is approximately 127 acres. The total frontage along River Road is approximately 943 feet. So there are two existing buildings on site. We have the indoor tennis court building that's located at 160 River Road, and we have the existing clubhouse, which is located at 170 River Road. So currently, there's one driveway curb cut for 160 River Road, and we have two driveway curb cuts at 170 River Road. So the project consists of realigning the center driveway to provide access to a proposed 200-space parking lot, which is located north of the existing indoor tennis building. The proposed project eliminates the westernmost driveway, so there will be a total of 2 curb cuts on River Road. Additionally, the applicant proposes to reconfigure the existing parking lot near the clubhouse to bring it into compliance, as well as providing drainage facilities, utilities, and landscaping. A stormwater management system is proposed to mitigate the impacts of the entire project. So we're proposing an infiltration basin near the central driveway entrance. Stormwater runoff from the proposed access drive will be collected via deep sump catch basins and will discharge into the infiltration basin. A second infiltration basin is proposed northeast of the 200-space parking lot. This basin will receive runoff from the entire new parking lot. So the reason we're here is because we have to file a land disturbance permit since we're disturbing approximately 6.2 acres of land. Also, we filed an application for a site plan special permit for the parking lot expansion. So currently, there are 161 parking spaces, and based on the proposed use of the 2 buildings, a total of 273 parking spaces are required. And so the project proposes a total of 334 parking spaces. So that's an additional 173 spaces over the existing and an additional 61 spaces over the required amount. So we did receive comments from DPW on Friday. We have a planned meeting with Mr. Hardiman on Wednesday to just get some clarification on some of the comments in his letter. So with that, we're happy to take any questions.
All right. We'll start with Mr. Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, this is quite an undertaking for the Troll family. That's good. That's good. You're looking to the future. Yeah. And I can see that you're doing this and why you're doing it. And I mean, I said the word picturesque. It's on the sign. I mean, it is. It is a wonderful place. It's an asset to the town of Tewksbury, and it's not going to change by doing this. I was looking here as you were talking. Sorry. One thought came to my mind about signage. Do you think it'd be necessary so as to educate the people that are coming here as to which parking lot to go to for X, or for the tournaments, or a function? That's my question.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we show signage on the plan here. We don't have specific details on what the signage has, but I think that's something we can take a look at.
I'm going to believe you because I don't see them. What does the sign say?
I don't have the detail on the sign. It was just at the driveway entrance. I don't know if you could see at that center driveway entrance.
Okay.
But maybe we can add some additional signage, like you said, at the parking.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you see the need for it?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, to keep people on the day-to-day to go to the new parking lot,
Right.
and during the tournament to have them, absolutely park in the right parking lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Where would you be, when you have a tournament, sometimes you'll go out and rent extra golf carts to fulfill the need of the tournament?
We don't have that need anymore. I'm purchasing a new fleet right now. I have 90 carts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you're all set.
Yeah, well, everybody wants to ride, now no one walks anymore.
Thank you. I think I'm all set at this time, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Fattalia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple of questions I have. So the tennis program is staying, correct?
No.
No, okay. So, one of the things we usually have is a concept plan that you come in front of us originally, but I don't think that ever happened, right, Mr. Plunkett?
No, there was a discussion with plan and development and all the town
Department,
heads,
IDR meeting,
department
right?
heads.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the reality is, this is a situation where the thought is that, this is part of, there's no permit needed per se relative to the use because the golf is an approved recreational use at the site. So we're not changing anything. And the thought was that we didn't trigger anything requiring any type of permit.
Sure,
For
yeah.
the change of that to use it for golf purposes, is that's a
Yeah.
grant.
So that's why I asked, because there's nothing in here saying that the tennis program was staying, and that's existing there, and it's been there forever, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a tennis guy, I'm a golf guy, but, so I could love to see it go, so.
Yeah.
Golf simulators, it's a great idea, it's well used at the other facility in town, I know, so, I look forward to the changes. Terrell Brook is a legendary golf course in town, and not just in town, anywhere you travel. Speaking to golfers, where you're from, I live from Tewksbury. Oh, I've played Terrell Brook Golf Course, absolutely. So the changes are great. So are we adding restaurant space at the facility? We are?
Yes.
Okay. So that
So
was
in
not
terms of
discussed
seats-
really per se, but
Yep, so
I'm reading it in the plans, but I'm like, I thought we were adding a restaurant here with a lot of seats, and that's awesome.
Yeah, so the combined total seats between the two buildings, there's 100 seats, and we're proposing 315 proposed seats between the two buildings.
Okay.
So it's an additional 215 restaurant
All right,
seats.
awesome. I think it's well needed there, Mr. Terrell, I'm sure you agree. I've had a tournament there before, and you couldn't accommodate us, so we had to leave to go to another facility, Wamisit Lanes, for the banquet and food and so forth. I know the tent comes up there once in a while, but gets put up for outside events, but having everything at the facility is the best alternative for everybody. Players coming and going and staying right in-house. We don't lose anybody when you travel from one golf tournament to another eating facility. So, it's just a great idea. I look forward to all the changes, and I think it'll be a welcome addition to the residents and the players that play up there, because the tournaments alone and all the other additional drinking and food and so forth, I'm sure is going to be increased and be a better situation. So I look forward to all the changes and new plans as we go forward, but for that, I'm all set. But thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Delaney.
A question. What road is the existing parking lot on?
River Road,
It's River Road.
yes.
Not Trump Road.
No, but I thought River Road, well, okay, now I understand. Because I was confused. I thought River Road was out where the gas station and that strip mall is, and it goes that way?
That's Andover Street, Route 133.
Yeah. I thought that was River Road there. That's why I'm asking the question. Okay. The only thing, well, I have this here from the fire department, but I think the fire department gave us a lot of things that they needed, but it's concerned, it's in the building permit. Like your sprinkler systems and all of that, your master box, this. The only thing I think I read was, with the existing parking lot, they wanted 2 entrances. Did the fire department want 2 entrances in the existing parking lot?
I'm not aware of that. Was that in the letter that was submitted?
I don't know. I'm looking through my stuff here, and I thought that's what I read, that the only thing that the fire department had a problem with is they were looking for 2 entrances on the parking lot the existing parking lot. I don't know if that's true or not, I'd have to go back through it all. But other than that, the concept and everything is a great idea. Troublebrook is a wonderful golf course. The people that are there are wonderful. I love it, the fact that now you can take your cart back into the parking lot. Okay, so that's pretty much it. But the one thing I was concerned about was what the fire department was looking for. Okay, and I know I have it here somewhere in all of this, but that's the only question I have. The rest of the stuff that the fire department wanted, most naturally, is covered by the building permit. And the building inspector and the fire inspector and all. I'm all set, Mr. Chair.
All right, Mr. Ryder?
Yeah, thank you. I think what Mr. Delaney is referencing is 1D in the letter from Lieutenant Sawicki about the access road shall be provided when the single road is impaired by vehicle congestion. So that's what he's referencing. But I do think this is a great rendering of what you're intending to do there. I think it's going to be another value to the course and continue good business over there. So best of luck, but I think as of right now, looks great.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair, one question. The nicest thing of all is now when you have a tournament there, you don't have to go to another facility for the banquet, which has been happening in the past. Now they can have their banquet there, which is a plus for everybody. Thank you. Okay, I'm all set.
So the only thing, just a little more clarification, on the front parking lot, what exactly is the plan to keep people from going in there, as a normal course? Because where are you now sending everybody out of? Like, is it not that clubhouse that's there, or is it?
Day-to-day operation, so the day-to-day pro shop clubhouse will be where the tennis building is.
Okay. All right, so is there a plan to keep folks out of there?
Yeah,
more
I
than
mean,
just-
it's not finalized, and like Mr. Fowler said about signage, it's, going to be absolutely necessary, and it might actually take some sort of like horses or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to retrain everybody, that's sort of the idea,
Yeah,
because that's
it's going
just
to be
gonna
force
be
of habit for everybody to pull into that parking lot, so,
Well, the fact that you're not sending folks out of that clubhouse is gonna make a big difference, because that was one of the things I was just thinking about, is who's gonna wanna park at the far end of the new
Right,
lot?
yeah.
Knowing that's where you gotta come out of.
Right.
Unless someone's coming to pick you up in the cart, and you've got the runners out there. But if that's, if you're gonna be up here at the new facility, then that at least alleviates some of the reason why people might use the old apartment, but you are gonna have to do something, I think.
yeah.
At
like
least
you said,
initially, to
signage
retrain
and,
everybody.
Probably some, like maybe freestanding signs in the parking lot, directing people to the correct parking lot.
So then, my other question, and I think it's probably the case, but as of right now, how much operation do you have once the snow hits?
On what?
Right now? How much operation do you have once the snow hits? That's pretty much it for you for the
Well,
season?
the indoor tennis is.
But I mean, but obviously, you're getting rid of it, so it's obviously not a big generator of...
No,
for
the
the-
tennis
for the
industry
site.
is,
Right.
pretty stagnant, set where it's at, and, when the summer comes along, people want to play outside. There's plenty of free, beautiful tennis courts, especially here in Tewksbury. So why would they pay me?
An excellent point. But that sort of was what I was leaning into, which is, this will allow you to be a little bit more year-round than you were before in terms
Yeah.
of making it worthwhile, because you now have the indoor simulators.
Kind of help out,
And the
especially in
facility.
like the food and beverage, being able to have that year-round, so we'll be able to bring in, attract higher,
Right.
better trained individuals for the food and beverage operation, and, to, step up our, food operation also.
Okay. So, You know, and I think this is sort of, and this is sort of a side point of it, but something for everybody to think about again. Because, you know, we gotta look at the bigger picture too. If you don't help the businesses grow and you don't help the businesses do well, and the businesses decide that it's just not worth doing it anymore, what happens to this piece of property? What goes in there if this isn't there? Please keep that in mind, because a good portion of this is R40, so that means houses. So I'm gonna, you know, remind folks again that when we do this, we have to think bigger picture too, when we're thinking about whether or not something makes sense. And that's certainly a concern, that, you know, you don't help the businesses grow, what happens? So that's certainly, at least on my radar, of one of the reasons why, you know, I don't have an issue with what's in front of me. I think that's it, other than, again, you've got some work to do with the town engineer for, you know, his list of things. Oh, I had one other. One of the things you left out, Mr. Plunkett, that at least I recall, is that one of the other things that the course has been is the site for the varsity golf team for the high school. None of this will change any of that, obviously.
No.
So another benefit to the town, you know, in case people aren't aware, that's where the varsity team plays their golf every season. So,
Mr. Chairman, before you finish.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes, well, you know, as an introduction to the golf program, I have to give you credit, Mr. Trull. My son went to Tewksbury High School in 1998. I went up and did some volunteer coaching at the high school for the golf team years ago. But I wasn't aware of the fact that all of the tee times, and I'm not sure if anybody knows this, but all of the tee times are provided by the Trull family, free of charge, I believe, to the golf team. So the golf team goes up there and plays all their practice rounds, all their summer programs to some degree up there, and it's free of charge by the Trull family. Now, my son graduated some 20-odd years ago, and I think it's still going on. So
Oh, yeah.
I was aware, you know, I was blown away by that, but such a nice gesture by the Trull family. So I have an opportunity to thank you for that and
Well,
doing that.
that was something started by my father in the 70s. I'm not sure when the golf program started at Tewksbury High School,
Sure.
but, you know, he started that tradition, and, you know, absolutely continues, yes.
Yeah, because I remember volunteering as a coach and discussing some of the stuff with Mr. Bastieri. There was a limited budget for the golf program, you know, and I was like, why? It's a great program for the Tewksbury kids. So, which is why I got involved, and, you know, and they said that tee times were being donated by the Trull family. I'm like, I wasn't aware of that, but that's an awesome, awesome thing. And a lot of kids came through that program and are still playing golf today. So while you're here, I want to thank you in person for that. So,
Well, thank you very much. You're welcome.
All right, with that, I will open it up to the audience. Anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, or concerns? You got to come up to the podium, give your name and your address.
20 Yorkie Way.
Nope, you got to wait till you get to your podium, because they can't pick it up without the mic.
20 Yorkie Way. I'm Michelle Backey. I live across the street, but at the far end of Yorkie Way, set back off the road. I got a better look at the plans because I talked to Mara and Roy after the conservation hearing, and I got a copy of the plans, so now I can see like kind of what was going on. I'm a little taken aback by the new entrance because I've lived there for 10 plus years now. I've lost 2 granite mail posts and 1 regular mail post. I've had car accidents at the end of the driveway. And now it seems that this new entryway is going to go right across the street from my neighbor, the Cruzes, and they just have a berm out there. I've seen guys come flying out because they're late getting home to their wives, or they've had a little bit more to drink. I'm not against this at all. I think it's a good thing. I like how the parking lot's on the other side. I think the dumpsters should be on the other side too. But I'm just concerned of the curfew that will be in place in the summertime. I like how they're moving the main golf to the upper parking lot, because we hear the guys show up at 5 in the morning swearing, yucking it up right out front. You can't open your windows, especially the Cruzes. They're right on the front. So I'm just a little concerned. I know that, you know, there may be some compromise that we could work with Roy to accomplish, like maybe have the town put a sidewalk across the cruiser's front, you know, land there, because that would stop a car harder than a berm. It'll go right through their home. And I just think that a stop sign is the most important signage that you're going to have there. It's going to triple the volume coming and going out of there in the summer months. I like to be away as much as possible, and like I said, I'm set back off the road, but I'm concerned for my neighbors and their very young children. They're right there. It looks like the driveway is going to go right through that stone wall, the pretty stone wall that's there now. I could be mistaken, and maybe I need to walk over there, and my neighbor too, to kind of understand a little bit more, because we're not against it. It's going to clean up that lower parking lot so that there'll be less frivolity at 5 in the morning and late in the afternoon. So I just, you know, want to make these points now, and it's all about River Road. It's not about the construction. It's just the safety of that whole area right now, and it's not safe right now, or we've had incidents over the past 10 years. So I'm just concerned that it's going to lead to, I don't know, that it's just the unknown. So then another thing, because it does seem to me it's tripling the capacity over there. I just don't know where this 2.5 humans in a vehicle came into play. I think the math was a little wrong, because when you golfers come, it's like 1 or 2 guys. So the 2.5 I think is a little high. I didn't understand that as part of the plan. And then who is the contractor who's going to assume all this? Have you identified a contractor and done a whole bid process?
No.
No. And then relocation of gas, electric, and water. That has nothing to do with our side of River Road, right? Or potentially it could. No.
On the site.
Right. Yeah, I would think it's on site.
It'll all be on the,
Yeah.
on the site.
There's already a business
Right.
operation there. So.
They're just tapping into their own on-site.
Okay, because just in some of the plans, it looks like they're going underneath and over, and we will definitely be disrupted in the fall.
So it was well documented in what we received, that the town did not want to have any of the water flowing into the pipes in the street. They wanted to stay on site.
It's going to go on the other side down the hill, I understand, and that I was very happy at the conservation meeting to find that out, because River Road is a flood.
No, it's not going out there.
Right. But just the construction disruption and all of that is, you know, we're going to just have to be patient with it. But I think a sidewalk in front of the cruisers, the whole entire property, would be a little bit safer for that new entryway, if that's indeed where it's going to be, that I kind of picture. Because right now it's like a gradual coming up to the tennis thing. The plans have it coming straight at their house. But
This is where it is now.
So the one thing I would maybe then, to her concern would be, you know, if there's something internal that you might want to put, you know, coming up to the exit that would slow the traffic down, some, you know, whether it's a, you know,
It should be
an
noted
internal
that
speed
the-
bump or something.
Yeah, that driveway is there right now, and they're actually eliminating the driveway facing the site. With your back to River Road, the driveway furthest to the left is being eliminated, so. But, you know, there certainly could be something in terms of, you know, even put a stop, you know.
We have a stop sign.
Oh, you have a stop sign?
Yeah, we show
there.
a stop sign at that drive.
So.
Yes.
Going back to the signs. No problem. The stop sign obviously is not, I was going to suggest that you come in with a drawing, not of all the signs, because this is going to be a learning process here, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would think so. But And, you know, you're gonna use your educated guess, but you might change as things go along. If you could just show the design of the sign that you're gonna have on site, you know, I'm sure it'll be very stylish and fit the need, and they spell it out very well. Obviously, the stop sign's a stop sign.
Yeah.
But there should be a stop sign at the end of that driveway. That's,
Oh, like I said, you know, even if we have signs, usually a sign, you know, a permanent sign is posted to the side on a post.
Yep.
So I think, you know, people are so used to pulling into that lower parking lot, you know, our existing main parking lot,
Yep.
that we'll actually have to have maybe a, you know, like a horse, so to speak.
Okay.
You know, at some point saying, main parking lot, you know, with arrows pointing up our, you know, internal driveway, you know, directing them towards that driveway, because, you know, we're gonna have those people that are just so used to coming in, pulling in that parking lot. You know, eventually, like you said, they'll get trained,
yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know, for the time being, we'll have to have, you know, like I said, freestanding signs that we can move around, you know, to direct people.
But I mean, it is, I do think it is, looking at now, the way the parking lot is, it's gonna take you right past the new facility. And you're gonna want something to keep people at a slow speed coming down that path
Yep,
now.
straight over
Because they're
into
going
the
right by the
house.
club, the new clubhouse,
Yep.
before they're heading out. So, you know, for safety internally, you're gonna want to have, you know, something
Right.
that was gonna keep people from, you know, getting a head of steam going out of the parking lot.
I would ask that you confer, Roy, confer with Ira and Jim as to what their thoughts are on, and I'm not pointing for a bump, because that's just what they are, is a bump.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Oh,
people
speed
can't
bumps,
handle it. And you've got golf clubs in the back of, you know, but a rumble strip. You know, if, an occasional spot of a rumble strip, not drastic, but just enough to slow people down. And they work great. But Jim and Ira, they're the experts on that, they can let you know.
All right, did you have anything else?
No, I just wanted to state my
Thank you very
concerns
much.
after living there as long as I have and learning what typically happens. But I'm a golfer myself. I've played over there. I've gone to the clinics with Al. I really would like to see it thrive and be successful. I'm just, like I said, we live right there on that front area, and it just has to be a safety issue.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else with any questions, comments, or concerns? Once, twice? All right, we'll bring it back to the board. Next hearing?
Mr. Chairman, that's going to be good for you to get with Kevin and, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and, Mr. Chairman, if we might also, I know the condition of the board now is that you want to have, before having a vote, have a proposed, you know, decision for review and feedback. You know, if there is a possibility of getting out for review a potential, you know, decision, so that the next meeting, if, assuming that everything, and our expectation is that, you know, be able to get everything resolved with Mr. Hardeman. And reality is, we've got, you know, from Roy's point of view, the, you know, time is money, and the sooner we can get this
I
resolved.
won't speak for everybody else, but I'll say this and see how everybody else feels, which is, obviously, this last piece, just something that's gonna have to deal with the safety of slowing folks down and dealing with, you know, how that exit entrance area will be dealt with. You have to figure out
Sure.
what that is, so that if you're gonna come back in looking for, you know, to finish up, that has to be Ts crossed, Is dotted,
Yeah.
because otherwise we're just gonna end up having another discussion about it and push it off again. That would be the biggest piece. Obviously, we're not dealing with the building. That's not, so that's a little different than sometimes we have to deal with. So we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with a parking lot, and we're dealing with well, actually, it's really, the land disturbance permit is just because you're doing something. So, you know, we're really only dealing with that one thing. So if you can get yourselves squared away with the with the town engineer and deal with that issue, there isn't really much more to this that we are involved in, because we're not dealing with the building or all of that in this case. So, if the other members don't have an issue with that, but a lot of that's gonna be on you guys. You know, we can't get this stuff on Friday afternoon before the meeting, and that's when you're trying to square it all away. You know you've got 2 weeks. Think of you have a week. Think of it that way. And then, you know, we're more likely to be in a position to maybe do that, but not if we're scrambling at the end.
Sure.
All right? Mr. Delaney?
I thought I forgot. The question I wanted to ask, how soon would you like to break ground there? How soon would you like to get the ball rolling?
I was discussing that today. I mean, we were hoping to start this fall, maybe in September, get the parking lot in, September, October, November, and then, depending on what the construction schedule would be, shutting down the tennis operation, for an opening of the golf simulator building for December 2023. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Because we got to try to get the parking lot done at like the low point of the golf season, so we're not,
Makes all sense.
dealing with the golfers.
So it's good that you're ahead of the game by bringing it now.
Well,
Here.
like I said today, I said, I don't know where the price of hot top is, after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
$125 a ton.
Yeah, so what does that compare to
It's up
from, say,
80, so,
yeah, so it increased 50%?
yeah.
So, I mean, how much sense does it make to put a parking lot in with a, almost like an artificial high price of hot top? I mean, hopefully things normalize by this fall. That would be my hope.
Yeah.
All right, so with that then, we'll set this for 7:15 on March 28th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, we'll see you guys on the 28th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to agenda item E, that's 30 International Place. The applicant has requested to continue to the March 28th meeting.
Yeah.
We didn't open this yet, right?
No.
I'm sorry?
We haven't opened this.
No.
All right, so we have a motion to open. So moved. I'm sorry, motion to waive the public reading.
So moved.
All right, so I have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Now, as to the request for the continuance, we got 7:10. So moved. Motion made, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. That'll bring us to agenda item F, which is 91 Washington Street, a use special permit. Do I have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
That's as far as it
Motion
goes.
made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, once you guys get settled, if you state your names for the record.
Steve,
Good or bad?
2-0 us.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It was
2-1.
2-1 now? All right, okay. Now it's Tewksbury hockey game.
Oh,
It's in the, it was,
Did anybody watch Built in America? If some watch it some night, it's on Fox. They built the Pentagon from design to occupancy in 16 months. And the reason that they built it out of concrete was World War II, they were gearing up with the steel to make tanks and ships and everything. So they knew they didn't have steel, and the Potomac has a nice sandy bottom.
wow.
So you may see some people coming in with concrete parking lots.
Yeah.
All right, so we're still live, so we can get started with this, and Mr. Delaney will be back, so.
There's something I'm supposed to do here that I'm not doing it.
Catch it.
I'm not sure it's gonna work. I think it's on my end, Alex, where'd you go?
You wire this shit?
But they probably put the cheapest dimmers in the world.
That's a low one.
That's the dimmer closet.
Yes.
Cheap dimmers cause that.
Low bid?
Yeah.
I think it's on my end, Alex. I need to hit Control 5 or something or other, so.
Okay. He's going to double check with Brian anyway.
Yeah, that's all right. The only thing I had was wanted to show you some pictures of the parade floats, but I'm sure you're all familiar. But anyways, for the record, Dick Cuco from Woodland Design, and with me is Dennis Sheehan. On 133 Clinton Street, we're requesting a use special permit for a contractor's
If you go
yard.
Washington Street, right?
Washington Street.
Is first.
Washington Street first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, 91 Washington Street. I'm here with Dennis Sheehan, who's the principal of the Oakway LLC, who are the owners of the property at 91 Washington Street. There's an existing auto body shop on the property there, and like everyone else in this economy, trying to figure out how to make their way in the world today. So they are hoping to apply for a license to sell used automobiles. In order to apply to the Board of Selectmen for a used automobile permit, they require the use.
Turn the lights up.
He turned it down so you
Yeah,
can see
I
that.
think they require that
Okay.
the use be approved for a use special permit for automotive sales. This is located in the HI1 zoning district. So in the HI1 zoning district, you're allowed to do this if you get a special permit from the planning board. This property was obviously built many, many years ago. It's been there for quite some time, functioning as a body shop. But in order to keep ahead of the curve and make sure that the businesses stay in town and thrive and do well, they feel that if they could get the used car license, they would be able to do better, facilitate their business operation. So Alex met Dennis out there this week, and she had a couple of suggestions that might be put into the permit, and we have no objection to those comments that she had made, which I believe you have a copy of. What you may have seen if you've gone out there is that there's probably a few more vehicles in the lot than normally are in the lot. And here we go again. It's the old supply chain that used to be able to get a fender in a week, and now you're lucky if you get a fender in 3 months. So, but you know that situation is getting better. So, and they're also made some arrangements to not take the vehicles in that they know they're pretty far out on getting the parts, having them park off-site in a different location. So again, this is step one. If the board sees fit to grant a use special permit for this property, we would then go to the Board of Selectmen and apply for the used car license. And then the selectmen would put on the restrictions of how many vehicles you're allowed to have and what size and types or whatever. So we don't anticipate that, you know, they'll be going after, like construction type vehicles. It'll be basically passenger vehicles, but, you know, you can't get into the auction without having a used car license. So any questions? We'll try to answer them for you.
All right. Stop, Mr. Ryder.
I do not have any questions. I'm all set, Mr. Chair.
All right. Mr. Delaney.
I don't have any questions, I'm all set.
Mr. Fowler.
I have 13 questions. No, I'm all set. I mean, it is what it is. You have a parking space, you put X number of cars in there now, same parking lot, same amount of cars. So it's up to you guys to determine what's going to be in there, so I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Mr. Fattalia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This isn't something new, Mr. Cuco. It happens in other parts of town, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But the exception of HI-1, we limited, basically the town consciously said, this is a part of town where we think that this type of business should be located. And so that's why HI-1, we're HI-1.
Yeah, it makes sense to me as well, but I have no problem with that. I'm all set, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
So out of the comments on here, it's really just number one, the two waivers that we need to deal with?
Correct.
Or will need to deal with?
Yeah.
Because we'll leave it to the, I guess we'll leave it to the board of, the select board to deal with the limitations. Just because, in this case, it's easier for one-stop shopping for that than for us to put something in and then it conflicts or something else. So I don't have an issue with that. With that, I'll open it up to the audience. Anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, or concerns on this one? Seeing none, bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
Motion to close the hearing.
Okay. Motion to close, we have a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. As to the use special permit as requested, do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'm sorry, I took one step, we have two waivers, I'm sorry, we have to grant the waivers. So on the two waivers, this is the pre-existing building, which is closer than 50 feet from the street, and the existing parking is closer than 15 feet from the lot line. The motion is to grant those two waivers.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Now as to the use permit.
So moved.
I have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item G, 133 Clinton Street, use special permit. Do I have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Now this time, Mr. Cuco, I think this is the one you started on.
Thank you. For the record, Dick Cuco from Woodland Design and Dennis Sheen representing.
Now I think there's floats involved.
Yeah, Dennis here representing with HRM&D LLC. That's my fault. See, when I send it to the newspaper, I sent Clinton Street first and then Washington Street, so I just assumed that that's what happens when you assume. But the property we're looking at is a vacant lot on Clinton Street. And as I said in my introductory letter, the applicants instrumental in providing the floats for the various Memorial Day and patriotic parades. It's getting to the point where they have many, many floats, and putting them together in the garage just makes it very, very difficult. So this particular lot that we're proposing to do it on, in both the building inspector and the previous building inspector have all been very cooperative, as has been Mr. Sadwick, Mr. Montori, and Mr. Fowler, that we need to get a contractor's yard to allow the National Grid to put in a power drop on a pole that's right in front of the lot, so that we can have power to use equipment to assemble the miscellaneous floats, have a little bit of lighting out there, because as you can see, when they're decorated, they don't get decorated in 5 minutes. It takes quite some time to decorate them. So this is just some things we have from the Memorial Day Parade, where you can see the time it takes to put together this, and this is just one of the floats. So in order to secure them and have lighting and electricity to run nail guns or whatever else they have to do on the site to do that. And moving on down, come on. And these are some of the vehicles that are in the parade that actually use for the floats. So again, they will fit on this lot for purposes of getting everything marshaled up and getting ready to go when it comes time to get the floats in place, and then they traverse up to Main Street. This is another one of the floats. As you can see, quite a few of the youngsters in town partake in the parades, but not a lot of the youngsters are participants in the floats. So, as you can see, but you know, this is without these particular vehicles used to be included in the parade, there wouldn't be much of a parade. This happens to be the Wamisit Lanes float. This is how we can only actually accommodate one in the current garage that they have in order to get it ready. And there's our famous Purple Hat folks that are yearly participants in the parade. So the parade is pretty vital to the Patriotic Activity Committee, and we think it's a fairly benign use for the site. We don't think we're really asking for very much, and hope that the board would consider granting us a use special permit on this property.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Fattaia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been to the site, pretty busy site down there. I haven't been down there for a little while, but I did get lost down there, and so a lot of vehicles down there, a lot of work being done down there, but you know, I got to thank Dennis and Maureen for all you guys do for the parade. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be having parades, because all the floats come out of your operation. So thank you for doing that. You've been doing it for years. I have no problems with the use special permit that you're discussing. So all set.
All right. Mr. Fowler?
Ditto.
All right.
I feel the same way, and they should be proud of themselves for the work they do. I know it's embarrassing, but I can see it all over this young man's face right here. I can say that. But no, it's been known that how much work you put into it. I've seen you working in there. I stay away from it because I have enough work to do with my own. So, you know, I don't need another project. But if you need help, call.
You look good in the purple hat.
What's that?
You look good in the purple hat.
No. I'm not a red hat.
It's got a couple more years to go yet.
3. Wow.
No.
There goes your permit.
We haven't voted yet.
Well, that was poorly timed.
That was quick.
Mr. Delaney?
Yeah.
I think what they-
Thank you very much.
I think what they do is wonderful, and without them, we wouldn't have a parade. So I have no problems with anything they want to do down there.
All right.
None at all.
Mr. Ryder?
Yeah, I'll echo the other board members. Thank you for everything you do. We greatly appreciate it as a town. But yes, I have no problem with this.
All right. Millard is the chair at this point. So.
And then Alex also had a few.
Yep. So the main one.
We have no problem.
Some of
with
the
those.
notes they're not conditions. They're just things you're going to need to do. But the first one is. So you have no issue with that?
No.
Okay. All right. So open up to the audience. Anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, or concerns on this hearing? Also seeing none. Bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
Motion to close the hearing.
Close.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. As to the use special
Motion to approve.
This is no waiver, correct?
No,
Just
yeah, I
a-
don't have any
okay.
waivers, right? No.
No. Motion to approve.
So motion to approve with the one condition, as noted on Ms. Latter's sheet.
An understanding.
What's that?
It's an understanding.
Yeah. All right, so a motion made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Good luck and thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for doing what you do, guys. Really, thank you.
very much, Rod.
Thank you, Maureen.
All right, moving on to agenda item H, 60 Highland View Road, site plan special permit, and land disturbance permit. This is continued from our February 28th meeting.
It's terrible.
Yeah, that's just, it's like having a strobe light.
No.
Actually still going.
There you go.
Look at this pile of shit.
There you go. That's better.
Look, you know something? I look like a dumpster fell on me, and you're all nice and neat.
Sure.
You going Luna Wilson?
Yeah.
After we leave here?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
It's something to eat.
Yeah.
Who's down there?
Nobody you won't see.
So you're taking me there?
Yeah. All right, 2-1, end of the first.
Huh?
2-1, end of the first.
Yeah, I just got the update. My kids are a little slow on the,
It might- It's on, it's on the TV, I want to say.
yeah.
Actually, I got 3-1.
Oh, 3-1 now?
3-1, good. Hockey game, 3-1.
This?
So for the record, Matt Hammer with Lamplex Engineering in Lowell, Mass.
Who else we have? Just so-
Yep, we have Hans Gradian here with us this evening. Guardian, excuse me.
Hello, good evening. My name is Hans Gardien. I'm from the Netherlands.
All right.
Representing
And
Zordi.
Mr. Tony Beams.
Hi, I'm Tony Beams.
Just so it picks it up for the record
yeah,
when they have to put it together. So thank you, gentlemen. Floor is yours.
All right, thank you. So we're a continued meeting. I know Mr. Fowler and Mr. Ryder were not at the last hearing when we gave our initial presentation. Neither was the core of the team here. Hans and Tony were unable to attend that meeting as well. So Hans is from the Netherlands, so he's come over for a couple weeks to be here in order to get through the planning board process. They're much more in tune with the actual process of everything that happens within this building. So if anyone has any questions related to how the operation works, what's going to be anticipated for the use within the building, we like to get a lot of that out of the way this evening in that regard. We just finished up some new elevations today. So we don't expect, we're going to have to make that formal submission to the board as well. I can run through the elevations. I know there was some detail that was initially observed that was lacking in our prior submission. So we've updated the elevations here with these plans. And we also have an updated floor plan here. Facing the property from the street, this is going to be your view here. Initially, we submitted a set of documents. It was an 8.5 by 11 set initially, which is essentially that projection. This is the actual architectural elevation, providing the height. The typical size of one of the panels was a question at the last meeting, which in this case is 3 foot 2 inches wide by 6 feet in height. So each panel, which is a tempered glass, it's not like when you see normal greenhouses, it's a one pane. I don't know, it's 8 by 11 pane. These are actual structural glass components to the entire facade. There's 6 gables that project down the length of the building. Those are in order to accommodate retractable ventilation in operation from the roof of the building itself. Going to the opposite side of the building, it's a solid, what is being called a head house, which is where the operation of the mechanical portion of processing and doing the operation of the facility itself is taken care of on the opposite side in this section here, which is solid. Along the entire side, on both sides, will be those glass panels. And these are the elevations of the two sides here. At the last meeting, there was mention that we went and spoke to the neighbors. There's two direct neighbors adjacent to the project. Actually, before I show you that, I'm going to go through the floor plan. So here's the floor plan. This will be the head house portion here, again, at the back of the building, where all this activity is here related to the processing portion of the facility. And here you have a production floor plan here, a propagation area, as well as a research and development section of the building itself. So the site plan doesn't change too much. There was a lot of comments related to, from the engineering department, to reducing the curb cut widths, adding some more drainage mitigation along the direct butter, which is here. And we've added a solid white vinyl fence that'll be 6 feet in height. That'll be along this edge here.
Just one side? Because you talked about doing
just one side.
For security reasons, but...
Correct, yeah. There possibly could be fences on the other two sides, but those would end up being chain link fences for security reasons. This is a swept path analysis for the fire truck, enabling the fire truck to come through the site off of Highland View Road, just shown there. We made a submission to the engineering department about a week ago, and we expect that, probably wasn't enough time to go through that submission with the stormwater report in the plan set. So we're expecting hopefully to get something back by the end of this week. That'll give us enough time to go in and meet with Kevin or do any plan revisions if need be for the meeting on the 28th. Again, Hans and Tony are here, so if anyone has any individual questions about the facility, I'd like to turn it over to them with any questions that you may have related to the operation of the facility.
All right. Start with Mr. Ryder.
Thank you. Interesting, strawberries.
Yeah.
Now, is this just growing? You're going to package there and ship? How is it? What's the process? Yes. Just to understand, maybe people understand, traffic in and out of there. How many people are going to be working there? Yep. Is it how fast is it produced? So is this, are you guys speeding up the process here? It looks reading the packet. What's the turnaround time?
Yeah. Okay. So this facility is half research and development, and even the production side of it really is development production. So at full scale. In our strongest week, we might produce 300 pounds of strawberries, so which is pretty small, just for perspective. This is, so this is still very much research and development. So in terms of the packing, we would certainly be able to pack that on site. This would, this fruit would just go to a select number of like boutique grocers. Okay. So pretty modest. To shortcut the answer, 6 people maximum at the facility at any one time, probably 2 technicians, a grower, and at most 3 engineers. The engineers will be in the robotic shop that's on half the side of the head house, adjacent the R&D section.
Okay. And I just think that helps people understand, you know, what type of traffic flow you're gonna have.
Yeah.
So maybe on a day, maybe 1-2 box trucks coming in and out of there.
If we could fill a box truck in a month, it'd be amazing.
Okay,
This is really
perfect.
probably more like SUV.
Okay. Perfect.
It's in a week, 200 pounds. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we come up with something really special.
Okay. And then it happened in Tewksbury.
Yeah.
Is this the first of this type building or this type of production that you're?
This is the company's first owned structure. There are many R&D greenhouses globally, all of them a bit unique. So this may be the first, like, half production development, half research development of, like, 13,000 square feet. So I'm not sidestepping the question, yes and no. It'll be a little bit unique, but it's certainly not generally unique.
Okay. Okay. I think it's pretty good for now. I kind of wanted to get the operation. Thank you.
Mr. Fowler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, two things. This is one place I want to visit when it's in operation.
That was my next question, but I was going to wait.
I'm telling you, it sounds interesting, exciting. I can see it on your faces,
Yeah.
God bless you for doing it. I mean, it's going to be great. As you probably know, not to push you now, this Tewksbury's been known as the carnation capital of the world, as you know, historically. Is there a chance we could be the strawberry?
The automated strawberry capital of the world.
Yeah. No, I'm not pushing you.
Hal, what are you doing with the strawberries, Hal?
But thank you. It looks exciting, and I'll say it again, it's a place I'd like to visit. So, very good. Thank you.
Definitely welcome.
Mr. Delaney?
I kind of go along with everybody here. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's awesome for the town of Tewksbury. It's another thing that makes our town just a little bit better. So thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Fratelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At our last meeting, I asked Mr. Hammer, it's not just strawberries, correct, guys? It's berries per se, right?
It could be.
Raspberries, blueberries, strawberries.
It could be, if you don't mind. A little bit of that's sensitive in terms of sort of like competitive stuff.
Okay.
So we'll just say it's berries. It's nothing that you wouldn't find at the grocery store,
Sure.
and everything you listed is
In the berry family.
in the berry and a possibility, and nothing too far outside.
Yeah.
Well put.
So all of the above could be coming out of that facility at some point.
Yeah, the R&D facility, I think, is around just over 3,000 square feet. So we're going to have 5,000 square feet of really robotic testing on the strawberries. And then we've got the southwest corner, which is propagation, which is the earliest part of a plant's development. So seed to seedling, germination and propagation, and then we'll transplant into full growth. So we've only got about 3,000 square feet to do anything other than strawberries, but we hope to certainly try one of the ones you listed, and as the years go on, hopefully get to move on to some of those other ones.
Sure. I like all three of them, so.
Okay.
I
All
look
right.
forward to having them
Do
You're gonna
raspberries?
need a
I love
machine that has
raspberries.
a hand that just slaps Mr. Fratelli out of the way.
No, I mean, I've been telling people about it, and I
Great.
first was telling people it was a strawberry facility.
It
That's
is.
what Mr. Hammer said.
That's great. And
But
we're
then kind of told us a little more of advanced about the blueberries and
Yeah.
raspberries and so forth.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But we welcome all of those above, and I love the concept. Like Mr. Fowler said, back in the 50s, it was the carnation capital of the world, Tewksbury, and it's great for the town of Tewksbury. So thank you.
All right, I have nothing to add, nor will I ask you to give up any more secrets. Obviously, you got some stuff you got to deal with the town engineer, so that'll be your biggest, at this point, piece left. I don't think there's anything really left for us. The fence was one. A couple of those other clarifications you gave today were pretty much it. I see on here you've got some waivers now.
Yes.
Listed. I don't think anybody saw anything that they had a problem with. You just need to sort yourself out with the town engineer.
Yep, and we'll be, some of the stuff came in today, unfortunately, so we'll be making a submission over to Ms. Louder tomorrow morning with all of those materials, so everyone can be distributed those.
Great.
All right, so.
Back on the 28th, right?
Yes.
I'll open it up to the audience. Seeing that there is no one in the audience, I suspect no one will be coming up. So.
I have something to say. I'll be honest, I like this project so much. There's something when I saw the preliminary plans, I wanted to say something, but I knew I shouldn't. I would have voted for it then, the preliminary plan.
I certainly would vote for it right now.
Good job, good job.
Thanks. All right, thank you.
All right, so then we will look to continue this to 7:20 on 3/28. Do I have a motion?
Yes, so moved, sir.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. We'll see you at our next meeting.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right, that brings us to agenda item I.
Cancel.
Agenda item I, 85 French Street is requested to be continued to our March 28th meeting. We are filled in at 7:05 for that. So Mr. Fowler made the motion. Do we have a second? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Just a quick question. I see what we have on here for that, so looks like about 5 as of now. Did we have anything else anticipated for the next one?
No, Mr. Chairman, the deadline's passed for that meeting.
Okay, so that kind of evened it off between tonight and the next one, so, yeah. Okay. Moving on to agenda item old business. Any old business anyone wishes to discuss? Seeing none. Any new business anyone wishes to discuss?
Jim, I have a question. I'd like to get some clarification as to why we won't be accepting any more land in town for open space, and maybe a reason behind it. You know, I don't know. Maybe we got clarification from the powers to be. Have you heard anything, Alex, at all about why they won't accept any land?
If I may, Mr. Chairman? Yep. Sure. So there were 2 recent submissions for donated open space to the town. And given the topography of the land, the wetlands, and some of the conditions on the site, the town determined that it would be more hazardous to accept the land than to not. Because when the town accepts the open space, they also accept responsibility for any of the maintenance, the liabilities, fallen trees, and things like that. And given the condition of the land, it was determined that it would be more of a liability than a benefit.
Yeah.
It's not a blanket, we don't accept open space, it's just the particular parcels that were under consideration.
That was going to be my question.
Correct.
It's going to be on a case-by-case benefit.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, the parcel that Mr. Cuco referred to specifically, it wasn't a flippant decision. A discussion was had between myself, the conservation agent, the town engineer, the assistant town manager, and we came to a consensus that ultimately it would not have served a benefit because it's so wet. Nobody would have been able to enjoy it even via passive recreation, and
But doesn't it abut the Rogers Park?
it does.
Doesn't continue on? I mean, I've been up Rogers Park myself with my dog, and I ended up going in the very back there, all the way over to in the back end. It was walkable.
The parcel that
Under the power lines and all that stuff, right?
I'm not sure this is where the power lines are. It's behind 2 residential lots, and in developing the lot for single-family homes, the developer offered to donate the land to the town, and the town decided that it wasn't going to be advantageous enough to accept the liability for the land. So like Mr. Fowler asked, it is a case-by-case basis. We don't take it lightly, and any open space that we can preserve, we're certainly open to it. Just some parcels just make it really difficult to do so. We're talking about, actually I think it was Mr. Cuco brought up the open spaces associated with some of the open space residential design subdivisions, and a lot of the time they're preserved in perpetuity, but under the direction of the homeowners association because of the risks associated with the type of land that's there.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, and then correspondence, the one correspondence in the package again was Mr. Ryder mentioned at the beginning about the invite for viewing the new elementary, and that's it for correspondence. So with that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Good evening. See you on the 28th. 3-2.